the threat intelligence that you need is around behavior, not around what's been installed. And I think that's the distinction. I do think that analytics platforms that allow you to do that correlation are really important. Most of my world today is Apple oriented. So typically using universal logging into a SIM and running analytics on that is a way that we would approach or that I would approach that on the Apple side. I'm much less familiar these days with how you would do analytics on the Windows side. But what I want to challenge is where the focus is. I don't think having a focus on end user device posture is particularly profitable. I think the focus needs to be on behavior and on primarily on network behavior. And that's why I brought up Vectra as an example. If you're going to do threat intelligence, I think there are a couple of areas of threat intelligence that are actually where I would invest. One of them would be some kind of behavioral modeling and analytics platform. I would focus on behaviors, especially network behaviors, behavioral analytics, and then threat detection.
Zero trust is a difficult, expensive end goal. Where do you feel we should begin? What is your concept of a roadmap that you would recommend?
When I was doing multi-tiered architectures, we had everything in the same data centers with static IP addresses. So we could say, look, only accept database calls from these IP addresses. And they were private IP addresses, so they can't come from the internet. And they're within the same data center. So we could do those kind of pieces. And that's a way of authenticating a device. It doesn't have to be really complex. You focus first on the overall architecture of your environment, what data you're attempting to protect, or what elements. It doesn't even necessarily have to be data, but what elements are you attempting to protect? What are the attack paths into those elements? Who are the actors from which you're protecting those elements? And can you narrow the access sufficiently, a lot, so that you can easily examine and analyze to make sure that your risk is very limited? It's never zero. But if the attack surface is narrowed and the access is narrowed and the number of actors who can even get close to that data is narrowed, then you have a dramatically better probability of protecting what it is you're trying to protect.
The governance around your data is the key.
There is an ability to use network controls to limit access. There's an ability to use a multi-tiered architecture to limit access. The question is, if you escalate privilege on a device, can you then access the data somehow? And if you have these multiple tiers and if you've narrowed the attack surface, the answer is no. It doesn't matter what level privilege you have.
One, I absolutely agree that the end user part, with education, we can only achieve two things. One is a frightened user who does not want to click on anything. And second is a bored customer who can't care less. As for the infrastructure part, from my earlier experiences, most of the problems arise from the overcommitment to productivity and cost savings. I'm talking about the SMEs. In some companies, SMEs are so overworked that they do not have the capacity to build better infrastructure, just a complex one. Can it be a good approach to make companies understand that good infrastructure design takes time, it's pricey, and does not generate income, but it's the foundation to do it?
It does take time. It also takes expertise. It's not cheap because it takes people that actually know what they're doing to take the time and the effort and do this work. One of the biggest challenges, as I'm sure, is that most of these environments have grown organically over time. There's a fear level that if anything gets changed, it could break fundamental business processes.
I feel like you made a beautiful problem statement, like what we really struggle with in cybersecurity. And as we were building the connective platform, there is really a very nice description of what were the challenges that we're tackling as we were going, whether it's small business, medium-sized business, or large enterprise. And frankly, I'm looking forward to the next with you.
Awesome, dude. Let's go rip it up.
Slopes.